Hi, my name is William Hamilton. I help talent development professionals enrich both their professional and online experiences, and this is my portfolio. And today, I'm going to show you how Ashford University and the University of the Rockies PhD in Organizational Development and Leadership Training and eLearning program learning objectives help me do it. So the agenda for today is I want to take about 5 minutes or so to show you around my portfolio. Then, by showing you around the portfolio, I want to help demonstrate mastery of the program learning objectives by showing you my projects. And then we'll close and talk about my areas of interest. There are, of course, 8 areas of mastery for the program learning objectives. They're very long. I'll summarize them here. If you want the long version, you can go to the catalog online or just pause the video here shortly. So there are 8. The first here is design applicable research. The second one is assess the influence and impact. The third one is create evidence-based systems and strategies. The fourth one is evaluate concepts, skills, and initiatives. The fifth one, appraise the complexity of organizational systems and functions. Number 6, assess the impact of organizational policies, practices, and strategic initiatives. The 7th one, design appropriate organizational learning and development solutions. And finally, apply leadership skills appropriate to a variety of complex teams and organizational settings. Okay, so the first mastery area, under this particular learning outcome, I have actually three projects to show. As you can see on my Portfolium page here, my tagline is lead and serve others compassionately, enriching and inspiring them to do great things. I have 26 projects here, 13 of which are under the Ashford University area. And what I've done here is on the title, you can see next to it maybe two or so. You can see here there's 2 and 3. That's item number 2, program learning outcome, item number 2 and 4. There are more inside, but these are the ones I've highlighted. So as you go through here, you can see. There are 13 projects here. And the first one, we can see, you see this is learning outcome number 3 and 7. This is 4. So I have 3 projects here under number 1, instructional design proposal, and also a corporate governance and organizational performance. This is the one I'm going to highlight, and the other one is CO2 prediction. So under number 1, program learning outcome number 1, corporate governance. So under the corporate governance and organizational performance, we have a research proposal here discusses the methodology of interpretive phenomenology. It looks at the problem of corporate governance in the context of organizational performance methods, data collection and analysis. The problem here is that the organization, both for-profit and non-profit, have corporate governance systems and board of directors to ensure continuous performance improvement of the organization, yet organizations still have poor performance. This is an indication of failed corporate governance. So this project explores that. Under project program learning outcome number 2, assess the influence and impact, we have, again, if we look at the page here and the numbers in highlight, we're looking for number 2. We have this multi-linear regression. This is the one I'm going to talk about here with job satisfaction, but as you can also see, there is also under the effects of personality on gender earnings. There's another one, but again, for this project, I chose to highlight the multilinear regression. This is an interesting one. So under this one, the multilinear regression problem utilizes 2 predictive variables. We're going to have 2 slopes, and we're going to compare the slopes. Years with the current employer, both low and high, and along with income, both low and high, to predict job satisfaction. Specifically in a hypothesis test, whether there's a difference in the slopes between high and low years with the employer. So what's interesting about this is you would expect those with low years with the employer would have lower satisfaction than those with higher years. This is generally true, but what we find is at the 10-year point, something happens with the curves and they kind of shift. So this is an interesting one to look at. Program learning outcome number 3, create evidence-based systems and strategies associated with organizational performance. Here again, you can see there are a number. I have 3 projects highlighted here. Advanced seminar, there's a case study online for online learning. And then there's also one defending the research question and something to do with philanthropic social responsibilities. So for this one, I chose to use designing a research question. And again, this is another interesting one. So the purpose of this particular essay or paper is to demonstrate a comprehensive understanding of effective persuasive writing, to develop a sound and defensible academic argument regarding my proposed research question. This essay uses arguments from literary citations and reports to explore many aspects of the research question, and in doing so, it covers my field of study, proposed research question, and answers many important questions. And it also explores how practitioners would answer the question and help advance their understanding and improve services in the field. Program learning outcome number 4, evaluate concepts, skills, and initiatives fundamental to ethical principles and diverse and multicultural organizations and leaders. Again, I have about 3 projects here. It talks about ethics and values and moral leadership, CO2 prediction, the effects of gender earnings, and philanthropic social responsibility. So for this particular one, this is evaluating concepts, skills, and initiatives. This is number 4 that talks about evaluating concepts, skills, and initiatives fundamental to ethical principles. So for this one, I chose to have a look at the philanthropic social responsibilities. This one has to do with Starbucks, which I thought was a pretty interesting one. It's a fascinating case. And this one on this one, the aim of this paper is a comprehensive critical review of philanthropic activities of Starbucks, using examples of gifts, nonprofit organizations, and foundations. Okay, it is an ethical critique of philanthropic philosophy. The central question here is whether it is a responsibility of organizations to engage in corporate social responsibility. Many will say no. Can the organization do good and do well financially in the interest of the stakeholders, all stakeholders? Looking at Starbucks' financial performance since the 1990s, the answer is yes. Program learning outcome number 5, appraise the complexity of organizational systems and functions as effective change agents through the implementation of interventions and research in complex multicultural team organizations. Okay, so for this one, it's complex. For this one, I have the philosophy of leadership because, leadership is what does it. And I talk about global leadership imperative as well. And I also have a sample that's outside the Ashford one that talks about G Suite, my own organization. So for this one, I decided to highlight the psychology of leadership. Yeah, and the cover here is actually a 3-page intro, like a magazine cover, just for the 3 pages. Again, you could take that page off and just put a APA style cover sheet, but it's no accident that there's a woman there and minority here. It's an interesting read. For this article, it does a couple of things. It examines the approach, history, and principles, rationale, and importance of the psychology of leadership theory. And it also explores the ways to present research in an online format. Okay, it proposes situational, transformational, and servant leadership approaches as a best opportunity to achieve the company desired results. Program learning outcome number 6, assess the impact of organizational policies, practices, strategic initiatives, innovation, and change process in teams and organizations. Another complex one. For number 6, I have 2 in here. Again, if you look in all of them, you'll see probably more than 1 or 2, but specifically I highlight the Big 5 personality model, as important, and also the psychology of leadership. But for here, I'm going to highlight the Big 5. And again, when you're looking for these online, you can see right after the title, you can see, 6 and 8. That's program learning outcome number 6 and number 8. So for this Big 5 personality model, this project does a couple of things. It discusses the research problem of developing a 15 or 25 or even a 45 test instrument for personality. Many call the Big 5 personality or 5 forces model that can successfully predict personality. Okay, the use of this content domain blueprint maps it uses and helps to try to align this construct and facets of current and potential future use of assessment instruments. We're looking at appropriateness, validity, reliability, and limitations. Program learning outcome number 7, design appropriate organizational learning and development solutions influenced by principles of human performance technology and industrial, organizational, and psychology. Okay, this is number 7. I have 3 or 4 of these here. One of them is the proposed intervention. Again, you can look at the parentheses, topics in performance management, etc. I chose topics in performance management. This paper is a performance management proposal for a fictitious company. Okay, it has no uniform performance management system. It addresses several issues like channel managers who create their own rules for leadership development, create their own rules for performance feedback locally and at the multicultural level. To help provide solution, the vice president of the global learning, the vice president of global learning must formulate a proposed program and component strategy for employee engagement, leadership development, plans to enhance leadership skills and succession planning, including possible plans to create internal promotional opportunities for future high potential. So it proposes performance feedback models impacting future performance, along with compensation models aligned with strategic objectives of the organization. Adaptive performance management. Lastly, program learning number 8. Program learning outcome number 8. Apply leadership skills appropriate for a variety of complex multicultural teams and organizational settings. Here again, there are several, 3 or so. I chose the global leadership imperative. So for number 8, this paper explores the concept of strategic planning. Is it the same as acting strategically? As acting strategically ultimately requires a leadership style in a cultural context, an understanding of the difference between the formulation and operation. Understanding the cultural dimensions involved, both internally and externally, societal factors and influences, global mindsets, business acumen, and the impact on both the planning and execution of strategy in a dynamic context of the global environment. Ultimately, does strategic planning imply action planning? I say no, we have to do something. And finally, the closing slide about my areas of interest. My areas of interest, I'm pretty much already doing that as a CPTD, Certified Professional in Talent Development from the Association for Talent Development. However, this PhD in Organizational Development and Leadership Training and eLearning reinforces that. So a certification along with the title. And what this does is it really talks about my own purpose, my own passion lies in leading and serving others passionately enriching and inspiring them to do great things. And so here we are at the end. Thank you for listening to my Portfolium presentation. My name is William Hamilton. This presentation has been about Ashford University and University of the Rockies. You can get more on my blog at blog.ciwlearning.com. Thank you and goodbye.